one of these days I'm gonna get like a good haircut and then just fucking, that's just gonna be it. I won't have to fucking change it every 2 weeks. Hey guys, how you guys all doing? I am back. It's been a minute. I'll say that, and this is not obviously based on the title and based on the thumbnail. This is not a typical kind of video. I didn't really have plans to make this video, but I kind of wanted to hold you guys down. I mean, wait, pause. I kind of wanted to make a video to hold you guys over until the end of the year when I do my big, because I'm still planning on making a big music video, and that took last year like 2 months, and I'm planning for this next one to be a bit bigger than that, hopefully. So yeah, gonna probably just buckle down on that by the end of the year. But there were some things I wanted to kind of just talk about quickly and just like make this little video. I got a bone to pick with festivals in Australia where I live. It's a very common, I don't know if any of you international viewers know this, but Australia is kind of notorious for having just not horrific, but we don't have great festival lineups. In terms of popular music festivals, we really don't have a lot going for us. Take Rolling Loud, for example, because that's kind of the subject of the video. Rolling Loud's like one of the biggest festivals in America. Like, you see the lineups posted every year. I think it happens, I don't know, but I swear it happened about 5 times this year in America, and I'm guessing it probably happened in one of each major states. They have huge lineups. It's usually like 3-day events. You all probably know this. It's like massive people go there. We usually miss out. I don't think Australia has had it like a Rolling Loud since fucking like 4 years ago, since 2019, before COVID. And finally, we got like a surprise announcement. They were like, it's coming to Australia. And then they were just red flags immediately. They were like, they had not revealed any lineup, but they were like, pre-sale, on sale, $350 for a 1-day event, mind you. And we don't know the lineup. And how do you even pitch that to your friends as well, where it's like, hey guys, do you want to come to this music festival for $350? Oh, sweet. Well, not sweet, but like, that's okay. Who's going? And it's like, I don't know. It should be good though. No one's gonna say yes. No one did say yes. I was kind of planning on doing it. I was like, then I didn't. And I was kind of stressing about whether I should buy tickets or not. Pre-sale didn't sell out. And then today they've just announced, basically, fucking hell, they haven't got their shit together, and it's kind of just ended. And not only that, but The Weeknd, which is obviously, he's kind of like this niche artist, but he was coming down here in end of this month, end of November, when I'm filming this, and he's just postponed, and we don't even know. What I'm basically just trying to get at is it pisses me off. And it's like, people know this, people where I'm from, my neck of the woods, just anyone in Australia who cares about this stuff know what I'm talking about and feel the frustration. But yeah, it just, I don't know, it pissed me off, and I kind of wanted to have an excuse to rant about it. Oh fuck no! What the fuck? Spider-Man 2 came out like 2 weeks ago, and people have already finished it and already basically platinumed it. It's been like, I'm worried that it is going to be like another Utopia situation where I've just completely missed the mark by like a month and no one cares about it anymore. I have to say, I'm usually someone who takes my time with video games, and like, I still haven't even beat the new fucking Zelda, so that's just how you know that I really go slow. But with this Spider-Man, I've already finished it and kind of already finished most of the side missions too. I think I've got like 25 hours in it already, and it's been 2 weeks exactly to the day since I've got it, which isn't as crazy as I know a lot of other people are, but for me that's pretty hectic, because I really don't like to enjoy my games, especially because it was like $120 where I got it from, which apparently was pretty fucked, but still. So on the gameplay aspect of stuff, there's kind of 3 major parts I wanted to talk about. The first thing was the fighting, which is kind of exactly the same from the first one, but it's this time, well, not exactly the same. There's a bit of differences. In this game, you play as Peter and Miles, so obviously the 2 Spider-Men, and they control very differently. One of the most notable features is that they've kind of really got rid of a lot of the gadgets from the past game. I remember in Spider-Man PS4, the first one, they had a big like weapon wheel, and you could kind of go between, like, it was at the end of the game, I swear it was like at least 10 different gadgets. And this one, it's kind of supplemented by these Doc Ock arms that you get, that I guess Peter has just made because he fought Doc Ock. And I mean, they're cool. I've heard complaints that they're a bit like un-Spider-Man like or whatever, but it's like, it's kind of fun. You kind of restart them. The main thing I would do, there still is gadgets in the game as well. There's like 2 separate wheels. So you do L1 and then that controls all of the what's it called, the Doc Ock, I guess, arms. And then R1 is all the gadgets. And when you get like beefed up with the gadgets, it's pretty mad because you can just like walk into an area and just spam all of them and then...
Nice copy. And maybe a loop. Sorry, gotta put you on hold. Here we go!
Miles has his like venom or like electricity powers. And I'm kind of torn on them because on one hand, it like obviously makes the fighting a bit more interesting, a bit more engaging and different when you switch between the characters. But in a lot of ways, he really isn't like, he's just shooting electricity, bro. It's like it's at some points, it's like he's not even Spider-Man and he's kind of like, oh, he can swing around, but he's mainly fucking electrocuting people, especially when you do them all like, I swear I went some fights with Miles where I just electrocute the shit out of everyone. But for the most part, the combat is like really kind of just quick and fast, all that stuff. I would say it's probably on the same level as Spider-Man PS4. It's got like all the core stuff coming back. You fight a lot of people and there's also a lot more boss fights in this game. I played this game on like the medium difficulty, which, yeah, I know it's like, which meant it was quite easy. It was like on medium, like you kind of fly through everything. And that is especially prevalent in the boss fights. Like I just remember like most of the bosses, I would just fucking wail them. Like you just have them in a corner and you just kick the shit out of them. But it is cool that there is so many boss fights though, because like, I don't know, it was just, there wasn't many. I don't think there was as many in the last game, and I think there's more now, and that's sick. Peter gets the Venom symbiote at like halfway through the game, basically, and his powers change from the Doc Ock arms basically to being able to use like the black symbiote. Basically, it's his power. I found it really cool that when you use the symbiote, you felt like really powerful, and you felt like, especially when you had that rage meter on, when you were just wailing people like at that initial point in the story, you felt powerful, and you kind of related to Peter's kind of desire to keep the symbiote on him. I thought that was really sick. Oh shit! Oh! I thought the whole symbiote was just kind of cool in general, but we'll kind of get into that a bit later. The second aspect to playing as the Spider-Man is obviously swinging around. That is cool. That is kind of mainly the stuff from the old games. You can just swing around. It feels great. I think in large part it's because of the PS5 controller, which is just fucking doing all sorts of crazy shit in this game, let me tell you. One of my favorite things to do was like the big webbed slingshot thing where you like fire 2 webs and then you go flying. I haven't played the OG Spider-Man. It does feel similar, but I feel like if I booted up like 2018 Spider-Man, I would be like, fuck, they really perfected it on this one. And in this one, you get some web wings, which are not gimmicky, but it's like someone said that you kind of feel like Iron Man when you use it. And I kind of haven't really been able to escape that comparison ever since. Like, I don't know how wingsuits work, but like there's no way that like tunnels work that much. Like, but they're cool. And I feel like the main kind of purpose of them is to like get across from Manhattan, like the island Manhattan, to other like boroughs of New York, because the map is way bigger now, which is pretty mad. Other aspects of the game include like a bunch of other stuff. So there's like side content and side missions where you're not necessarily going to be like, and I would say this is probably one of the weaker elements in the game, and it was one of the weaker elements from OG Spider-Man, and they've kept it. I mean, they've kept it, but they've kind of tried to improve it, because that was one of the biggest kind of pitfalls people had with that first one, and they still have tried to do it. So they'll be like riding a bike through New York a few times. There's a few times where you're just riding around on a bike. The science puzzles are back, which was, I remember, a really big point that people were pissed off back in like 2018, and people aren't really as mad about them anymore, even though you can still skip them in this new game, which is like, again, I make a science puzzle if you can just skip it after like 20 seconds. It's crazy. So they're pretty weak, I'm not gonna lie, but I will say one of the best parts, not one of the best parts, but the MJ kind of stealth levels, they're actually way improved, I found. I really did not like playing as MJ, and that like most people playing as MJ in those like little stealth sections, but it's greatly improved this time, especially because she has like a gun. I know they made the memes, but she's full like going around kind of like, she's doing shit, you know, she's going around, she's doing shit. She actually has kind of a stake. She's not really, I know people were kind of annoyed with what her character did in the first game, but she's cool here. She's almost a bit too nice, but I'll get into that a bit later. All the walking around parts in the game, like that's okay. All right, moving on to the story and the narrative. So this is where I guess I'll give the spoiler warning to anyone who hasn't played it, which is very fair because the game's been out for about 2 weeks. So the main kind of basic idea with this new Spider-Man game is Harry Osborn, Peter Parker's like longtime friend, comes back into his life after being kind of mysteriously gone and absent for about 10 years with this rare illness. And he's kind of been healed using the Venom symbiote. Now this was all kind of stuff that was, if I can remember, like kind of allured to at the end of the first Spider-Man. Like they kind of set it up as like, oh, Harry's gonna be, you know, he's gonna be Venom, he's gonna be symbiote controlled as Venom, and basically that's exactly what happens. Harry's like kind of good at the start, but then he's like he's trying to be a good guy, but then Peter ends up getting the symbiote after he basically dies, and then the symbiote revives him. The symbiote kind of makes obviously Peter a fucking evil person, and he becomes evil to Harry. Eventually the symbiote leaves Peter, and then it gets back on Harry, who's like Harry's nearly dying, and then Harry just becomes Venom and just goes crazy. And while all And while all of that's happening, Kraven is just fucking around. He's literally just fucking around in the city, like just trying to hunt and kill stuff. And he's like wiping out a few people. Like Kraven don't fuck around. He's actually pretty serious and kind of scary in the game. And he's kind of just raw as hell actually, just on Kraven. Like he just like wants to die, but in a really cool way, which I can kind of respect. And then yeah, basically by the end of it, the big bad is Venom. You have to, just like how Doc Ock is the big bad of the first game, the big bad of this game is Venom, and there's like this big boss fight at the end. And it basically ends with kind of a teeing up of Norman Osborn being the big villain for the third one. And I actually like this quite a lot because Norman Osborn's been in all of the games. He's been in all of the games so far. And he's kind of been on this downward spiral. Like he was kind of doing well at the start of Spider-Man 1, but he's been beaten down like so bad, and I think it could really tee up well for what the final game could bring. I'm keen for that. How did I find the story? I thought it was pretty good. There's like, it's not a very complex narrative, obviously. It's like, I guess one of, like, you can kind of point to things and be like, well, like, how does that work? Because one of the things I remember I kept thinking was Kraven has this big militia that kind of infiltrates the city of New York, and like no one gives a fuck really. And it's like, why is no one really, I get that they're kind of cloaked in invisibility stuff the whole time, and like they're kind of incognito, they're hunters, whatever, but like no one's like, before all the Venom stuff, before all the city becomes like Venomized, people are just kind of, it's business as usual and shit. Yeah, like I was just kind of confused at that. There are also some side like quests in this game that are kind of like, so there's this one I remember that you do with Yuri, who's like Peter's cop friend who becomes this like anti-hero, and you fight this big like religious fire cult, and that's kind of fun. It's basically just more of an excuse to beat up people. You're not like on the edge of your seat being like, whoa, what the fuck, what's going on here with the, like, what's going on with this fire cult? You don't care. And like that's fine because the game's strong suit is not really the story. It's like, even with the main story, you can see the kind of main twist coming from a mile away. You know fucking Harry's gonna become Venom, you know he's probably not gonna live, you know, you can kind of see where stuff's going before it's already happened. It's not really the most unpredictable game, but it is kind of nice to watch those events play out. It's not, you don't need a narrative, I feel like, that has to be unpredictable. Back on the side missions, there's another one where you verse like Mysterio in these challenges, and at the end of that you do like this, you just fight Mysterio, and it's kind of cool. There's like 3 moments where you're like, oh, like you kind of have to beat these illusions that are like in-game, it's kind of fucking with you, and they were cool, but they made me kind of go like, fuck, what if they went harder with this concept? Because I feel like you could do so many cool stuff like with Mysterio as a character. Because do you remember like with Arkham Asylum, there was a point where Scarecrow like gets you with the fear toxin, and he full makes you feel like your game has been bugged, and like the game restarts. Like that was mad. That was so sick, and it just like, I feel like they could have done that here, and it was just kind of a missed opportunity. But yeah, it was cool. I guess I'll talk about the characters now, because that is probably the main start of it. People have kind of sung the praises of a lot of the adaptations of these characters, and I think they're cool. I think Peter is pretty good in this game. I don't know if he's, for some reason, I don't think he's as strong as he was in the OG like 2018 version. I don't know if it's like he's just kind of gotten a bit older and he's kind of meant to lose his charm a bit, but to me he's kind of like, I don't know, he's different. I think maybe it's the face animation, to be honest. But he's getting old. I like this idea of like a kind of older Peter and an older MJ who are kind of settling down and moving into home together. And yeah, they're kind of getting a bit old, and MJ's kind of like, we gotta pull the plug on this whole Spider-Man thing. Like he's getting old. He's like probably like fucking 31, bro. It's like, go raise your kids, bro, at that point. Miles, on the other hand, he's cool, but it's just like, it's a damn shame that these Spider-Verse movies have come out in between these Spider-Man games, because the Spider-Verse Miles just like, respectfully, it blows this one out of the water by like quite a long shot. And it's like, it's a few things. It's like, the thing I don't like about Miles in this game is he kind of just acts like basically the same as Peter. And it's like, well, you know what I mean? He's just got that like, it's just like the same people. And not to mention the fucking suit, bro. Oh.
What the fuck are you wearing? It's time for a Miles Morales original, you know? One of one. That shit's ass, bro.
Miles's relationship with his like girlfriend is sweet, and he's got a cool friend, and he's got a cool kind of dynamic there. But just a bit more, it's just, I can tell the writing team was just a bit, I don't want to assume, but I kind of got the vibe that the writing team was a bit older maybe. And like, if you're like, well, how old is Miles meant to be? He's meant to be my age. He's meant to be applying for college. I don't know, I'm just going to leave it at that. I just feel like he was kind of a secondary Peter. And I feel like it'd be cool if he could kind of come into his own. Maybe they're teeing that up for him, but I would find that, I don't see that happening, to be honest. Mary Jane was cool in this. I almost felt like, this is a weird hot take or a weird like theory, but I felt like with Mary Jane, the writing team, they got concerned because I remember when the first Spider-Man came out, people were kind of like, men online were saying, having a bitch because like Mary Jane had a bit of agency. I remember just people bitching about Mary Jane in the first Spider-Man game, and so the writers were like, okay, let's not make the same mistake twice, and they full just made her like very nice at all times. Like she's very, at one point in the story, Peter like full tries to kill her, and like you'd be horribly traumatized if you were in the position she was in, and then you call her back and she's like, that wasn't cool, Pete, but I'm here for you, buddy. And it's like, fucking hell, this is not the MJ from the first game, bro. She's cool for the most part, and she does like, her missions help her a lot. Harry's pretty cool. The problem is with Harry and MJ and Peter is, again, they have like a really, like their dynamic is just like, it feels artificial. That like level where they're all at the fair, it feels like there's like a gun to their heads and they're doing that thing where people have to kind of act like they're really good friends or whatever. But Harry's actor was good. He had kind of a good arc. Like, I don't know, Venom was kind of fun, I guess. I don't know, it's Spider-Man. Are people overhyping this game? Maybe a tiny bit, but it's been fun. And I had a really, like the fact that I beat it in like 2 weeks is insane. You can fly through this game and just have a blast. So I definitely recommend it. And I hope you guys, I'm probably gonna leave it at that because this has been like 20 minutes of recording. I hope you guys are doing well. Longer video coming next month, a video that I'll probably be very happy with. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing really well, and I'll see you when I see you. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, I want some Christian lose. My bitch got Prada boots. You know I will never lose. I'm in some CBLA.